Westford today, talking about the pond and everything over there, and they're talking about 20,000 cubic. So we're gonna do something. You gonna take some notes for me? Attaboy. Well, I'll call the meeting to order
here at 7 o'clock. Here.
Here. Here we go.
There we go. We'll start with Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So what you have in front of you guys is just something quick that Tobias and I threw down for an agenda for tonight. So it's pretty open-ended, but in order to make this official as we get, I do need a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
All in favor, aye. Agenda is approved. Open comments, opportunity from anyone in the audience to say anything they'd like. Moving right along. So we haven't had a Parks Board meeting in forever. Yeah, it's COVID just kind of sidetracked everything. Not even sure who else was on the board. I've heard a bunch of names. I had some people after I tried to reach out that sent me back to basically a resignation. They weren't interested in doing it anymore. So the main purpose is to just kind of restart this thing. We got a lot of stuff shaken parks-wise in the very short term and in a 5-year plan as well. This is kind of going to be the jumping off point going forward. We're going to need to dig into our ordinances at the city level and try and make this a little bit more official if it's not. But then I want to get back to, we don't necessarily have to meet every month, but we need to meet and keep things on task. One of the biggest things that we have to do, there's a very limited budget for parks. I mean, outside of the maintenance, I mean, the mowing and that stuff, there is not a lot of money in the city budget for any type of improvement projects in the parks. So it becomes critical that we use those funds to the best of our ability. So what I wanted to talk about first are just the projects that are on the books. So what's happening? There's two major things happening. One is that we have acquired land for a quadplex of ball fields. So we have one payment in on a 5-year plan right now to buy land. If you guys don't know where it is, basically the old rodeo grounds area, east of the elevator, approximately 18 acres is in the purchase agreement. We have signed the purchase agreement that we've signed for that land. Basically, we're paying for it over 5 years. So we made our first payment earlier this year. We have the ability to close on that sooner if funding becomes available. Tri-Valley Ball Association is actively working on fundraising for construction of ball fields, all that stuff. So if something happens faster, there's a clause in our purchase agreement with them that we can basically close on it at any time. The only thing we've got to allow is if there's a crop in, we've got to let them get it out. So, and at the city level, we've discussed perhaps just doing an outright purchase now and financing it, just to get it in our possession so mines don't change in the next 4 years kind of thing. So we may do something more there from the council perspective. But so that's in place, okay? The Ball Association guys they're going after some big fish. They're going after Sanford and some others to try and secure some funding. So I've helped them put together their packet, some of the information they have and stuff. We're getting some more drawings and so forth from DGR. in the next couple of weeks to help them make some of those pushes. So that's happening. And then the other large project is the new park over here with the pond. So half of the pond is dug. The other half is being dug right now. And the dirt work for that pond will be done probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So the digging will be done. We will still have to go back, finish grade it. All that's going to be done for now is just seed it. It's just going to be green space. So the real burden on the city will be to maintain it. We did get a grant for playground equipment to put in that park. We have to have that spent next year. Is that right, Tobias?
Late for 2024. They're working on the agreements right now. Hopefully everything got ironed out with the dirt work.
Yeah. So we've got some playground equipment already in the works for there. Game Fish and Parks has a pier that they will install on that pond, a fishing pier for us, and they will stock it as a fishery. So that all will happen probably next summer. But they actually have the pier sitting at the Game Fish and Parks building out by the highway shop. So those are really the two big ticket items. Some other things, projects. Last year, we put up on the big field at New Hope. We redid the backstop. That work was all done. The dugouts were not finished. Ray is waiting to basically have good enough weather to get in there and put the roofs on. That's all that's missing right now. So those will be in place hopefully by the time the early season tournament gets here, which is right around the corner. But that's on his radar, and he'll get that finished up for us. So that's kind of what's on the radar for projects. So basically the rest of this meeting was to talk about what's next. What else do we need to do? Because, like I stated before, in the general budget, outside of maintenance costs and the other general upkeep of our park system, there's really about $20,000 to $25,000 of new project availability. That doesn't mean that's what we're limited to. That just means that's what's allocated there. If we want to do things above and beyond that, either we have to go look for grant funding or we have to borrow money. So, thoughts, comments? Yes.
What can you spend it on, and then especially when they compile a list as citizens, right, involved in the court, like, oh, this is priorities, and then you can really get at it. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to come there.
All sounds pretty informal right now.
Yes.
The only thing that I can think of that probably was in the works last year that didn't get done down there was just the finishing of that landscaping around that entrance boulder.
Yep.
But, I mean, that just required some concrete curb and then some rock. Nick Nielsen did the rest of it, so I don't know if Nick submitted a bill for the stuff he done around the shed and the scoreboard. But I know that that's the last of what he had to do down there. And then the only other thing was I think we ordered some protective cases.
Yeah.
Put around the irrigation. I don't know exactly where that's at, but,
Dana's working on them.
okay,
So, we got the input for
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Covered.
I think the one, and then Chad, somebody that Chad works with was thinking about moving that booster a little bit or something, so I'm not really, I mean, that's kind of Chad's deal now.
Mhm.
So I just thought the cases were important to protect that stuff a little bit.
Was there still plans for the concession down in New Hope? I know one time we talked. Is that kind of on the back burner?
well, it's really not on any burner, simply because of the cost. We looked at, I mean, New Hope has no bathrooms at all, or Sunset has no bathrooms at all. New Hope has very old, small bathrooms. Hi. You're still on the board as far as I know, so you have to sit up here. We'll let it slide this time. We got some, just the bathroom / concession that we were thinking for Sunset Park. We got some estimates last year and it was 400,000. Something that I think that we're going to have to look at though, because, now we're gonna have another park over here that's gonna need bathrooms. It may be something that we need to look at as far as financing to do, if it makes sense to do 3 at once. Replace what's at New Hope, build one in Sunset and put whatever we need out there. Because it's a disservice to all the parks with what we have now. In Sunset, we're running 400 kids in there out of porta potties, and that just isn't very effective. And the bathrooms that we have at New Hope they're old. We're constantly fixing.
You only have one bathroom at New Hope.
Well, and we had a kid get stuck in there last year. It's
And
just.
that is in shambles. I mean, it hasn't had a coat of paint in 5 years or more. But you do have a shack there that we serve food on.
Yep.
Which could maybe be converted with the already existing plumbing and area into a boys' bathroom or a men's bathroom and a girls' bathroom with just some updating.
There's possibilities.
Instead of waiting for 3 more years until you put it all in one package. It needs a bathroom.
Well,
But if you did that, then you then lose your concession stand.
What are we gonna lose?
Didn't you say you were gonna put it where the concession stand is currently?
Updating right now, just paint,
Oh, I got it.
making it livable, putting a latch on the door.
No.
I
I was
mean,
there the day the lady got locked in there.
It wasn't a lady.
there you go.
Well, it was the lady the year before.
Last year, we had a tournament.
Happened the year before, was.
We had a tournament last year, and 2-year-old, we had to have Horatio come up and drill the deadbolt out so we could get out.
I think we gave her a flashlight and a screwdriver, and she took the lock apart.
We couldn't do nothing with a 2-year-old.
Yeah, no, I know.
That's kind of our ask. I mean, if we're going down that road as far as, are we gonna have somebody from the city there to help with stuff?
we've already handled that.
Well, I've been asked that.
It's handled. We're covered. Yep.
Please, indulge me if you would, please. How are we doing?
We'll have someone on staff.
Awesome. That's great.
Thank you for coming up. There's no one ever that comes up there and says, we won't be the park.
Yeah, but, hey, I think we're all in the same common goal, Owen. I mean, we're all.
Yeah, New Hope is the park. It's just been left to go to hell.
I don't know if I really agree with that.
I know you wouldn't agree with
No, but
that.
what do you mean by that? We did the upgrades to the baseball field last year with the fence and the
You
dugout.
can't get in there. You can't drive in there. It's a freaking mud hole. One car at a time can actually drive in there. And 4 cars can park and turn around. But
It's always
let's
been like
put some
that though.
gravel in there so you can drive. And maybe gravel the parking lot so you can pull in and, I mean, it's just been, weed control has been done by cars trying to drive in and out, or the leaf drop and the branch drop. Heavy equipment goes in for that reason only. Can you dispute that?
I think.
Well, Sue,
My
I'm-
whole life, and I mean, that park has always been a very utilized park from May till the end of July, just like anything, they added that one parking lot on, and I go up there and watch baseball games, and it's getting in and getting out is no different than getting in or getting out of Sunset Park, or there's no parking down
Yeah, but
at
if it
Palmyra, you
rains,
park on the road.
if it rains, it's all shaded. So we're talking a mud hole to get in and out with the gravel that's there. We're talking a mud hole to get in the driveway of the place.
Well, it sounds like, talk to Chad about maybe getting some gravel in the driveway.
Yeah, that would, just any upgrade.
Probably have to put something up there before the spring cleanup anything.
So we kind of discussed what's on the books for projects, which the land that's been acquired for baseball fields and the pond down here. And then we're kind of discussing future needs. So yeah, that's about all we've done.
Kind of what's the link to the baseball field?
Straight up Main Street to the east. Oh wait, turn your microphone on, please. We are live streaming it, so just push and hold. Yep,
There,
you're on.
okay, I'm on.
So if you go straight east of Main Street through the old rodeo grounds.
Oh, so it's the Bonanners?
Yes, yep,
Is that baseball only, or is that gonna be softball also?
it'll be ball.
Ball. Okay,
So the plan for that is a fourplex of fields, 3 smaller fields and 1 large high school, but usable field, right? I don't know what else to call it.
sure.
The one big field will be high school legion amateur distance.
What we're proposing to put together right now is one large baseball field with 3 PE/softball fields.
So Craig, are you working on that?
I am.
Okay.
I did have another question in mind, but I know we previously talked about, working the field. Are we gonna be able to hire someone on that, or?
That will be done by city staff.
Pardon me?
It'll be done by city staff.
It will?
Yep.
Okay. There's questions I'm being asked to ask, so I want to make sure we can get answers from where we're going with the and everything else. So I
Yep.
appreciate that, so we just know where we're at there.
How far are you talking about going? I'm just curious with the preparation. Are you talking just prepping the fields? Are you talking lines and everything, or?
And, I mean, our last meeting, we didn't know, that's why I'm wondering,
Yeah.
where are we going with that?
City staff will drag the fields and chalk them. Oh, set the bases.
Okay. Well, that's a good deal. That always fell on the coaches and stuff, so.
And you're running tournaments and stuff, we appreciate it. I mean, it's great.
Yep.
Glad we want to share it.
Good stuff.
So what else do we see for future needs of the parks?
Well, I think we've already talked about the bathrooms.
Yeah,
I mean, a bathroom a bathroom upgrade up there, a bathroom at Sunset, in my mind would be, it'd be a great addition down there because, well, for one, I think that that park is available for many different things. And we've already talked about as a board, not that we have a lot of interest in soccer, but if we could find another group of people that was interested in soccer, we could still run it through our registrations and it wouldn't be a lot of work for whoever did it. But if we could get them fields used maybe, a couple more months out of the year, then now you're talking, you're using them for solid for, 5 months, it'd be hard not to. And then if the community events go on down there in the summer, whether it's concerts or community days or stuff like that, it just seems like a good place to have a bathroom.
I don't
Yeah.
think anybody disagrees with that. Because a couple questions that I have are, I think we are where we're at with the current 3 parks that we have. And they both, both New Hope and Sunset need they need good bathrooms. So moving forward, how do we stop this bleed? When we build out this other park, do we just add a bathroom in that project? Is that feasible? Do we have the no, don't buy assist.
No, that's the thing, that infrastructure is really expensive, so when Mike said, ideally, you would actually bid let for a larger project, right? Because then you can get more competitive pricing, the question is just like the financing mechanism, right? You can do GO bond, sales tax revenue, if you can coax the bank into doing a sale leaseback, a sale buyback, that would be a little difficult, but
No,
that's really where you have to see how you wanna do it. And each of them, they have nuanced, challenges, like a GO bond that you have to be passed by 60% of the voters at the election. And then you pledge, the credit of the city. Then you have to see how much they come in, because you also have a debt limit. It's just, that's really, that's why it's key, to just sketch it out and then really pin it down, what you wanna do. Because you're right, adding a 3rd bathroom will be great, right? Then you have Heritage covered, you have Sunset, and you have New Hope covered. That way it's more enticing and appealing.
And not even so much that, Tobias, where I was going is that so we don't get behind, how do we step off the most correct way and build this latest park with the pond? How do we set that up so that we can build that out and not get behind the 8 ball like we are right now with these other 2 parks? That's all I'm saying, stop the bleed. How do we do that? Do we have a plan?
I think do we have a plan? No, we don't. And that's what I'm trying to get started here.
Okay,
One thing I want to mention too, with that park, you have to also plan for recreational trails, you probably want to add those too in certain areas. So that's another thing.
right. What are the amenities that are going to be there? And let's step off and plan this out in something that makes sense instead of here we sit and, Sunset has been put together just by a lot of volunteers and people that basically that Todd has gathered up to, to put the grass in and get all of that done. How do we do this?
So I should probably know more about, I've seen drawings and stuff to park, but
Yeah.
when you said right now, once it's graded, it's just gonna be seeded, so the trails and stuff that I see on a drawing, those are not that's gonna be like a trail project down the road.
Yep.
Gotcha, okay.
And so is that a 5-year? Is that a 10-year? What does that look like?
It really depends on what the price tag is.
Don't forget the open space you have on the north end too, that will be a park at some point. That's a whole nother thing you have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So as these developments are going in, I think I've heard a little bit about this, but over here, let's say, now, is he being required to put a park in, or are we just taking a credit that we can
So-
utilize towards other park business?
So our current ordinances require, when a development is put in, 5% of the developable land has to be committed to parks. So with what these guys are doing over here, the upfront is commercial, that doesn't count. The section right along the school is multifamily. that counts. No, it doesn't. It's R3. So it's R1, so all the residential back there counts. So in their case, I think it was about 4.5 acres that they would have had to give. We don't want another park.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so there's another formula in there. They're writing a $25,000 check to cover their contribution. I think it's,
They already got
yeah, it's like,
$22,200.
yeah, it's like $200 per lot or something like that.
Okay.
One thing we can consider is the city of Sioux Falls actually, the way they do parks, they identify them on their map, and then when the developer comes in, it's like, well, you have to put a park right here, or you're just gonna pay a fee, so that would be like another option where you could figure out, hey, how can you finance some of these projects with like parks that are nearby, where it'll be more advantageous.
So then my question is, that $22,000 check, is that going into our general, or is that being specifically put into the park fund?
Well,
How do we, I mean, we gotta start somewhere.
so it was put into the park that was transferred out because the city's purchasing the Heritage Pond land, and that's what it's earmarked for. Because that land has to be purchased a portion.
A portion of it has to be purchased.
Well, actually, all of it has to be purchased for the Heritage Pond. As of this point, everything south of the land that was deeded by Van Buskers or C. And that is where that open space is being used for.
So that whole amount is going into the town park?
Yep.
It won't be distributed to the parks?
Only because it is restricted money, so it makes the most sense to use it for qualified parks. And that is an immediate one that came up.
And there's no qualifying park purpose for existing parks?
Ma'am, I was given instructions by the governing body to write the ordinance and do those accounting moves in that way.
The governing body, meaning our council?
The city council. I don't have discretion, I can't just say, good old plans.
And you're right, it's not your fault.
22,000 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you're getting $70,000-$80,000 per lot, when you got 4 or 5 acres of that, if you take that times 50,000-60,000 per.
Does that ordinance need to be re-looked
No,
at?
I'm tracking with you when I heard that number.
Yeah.
That's
If it's 4-acre park, you'd think that donation would have to be, but
That fee
I mean,
fee
think
structure
about
is in our city ordinance,
where that
and it
land-
matches
probably the least
the other
desirable.
municipalities around us, including the city of Sioux Falls.
It's like 300 bucks as well.
Yeah.
part of that pond?
Approach to do the park. Oh, in that.
Oh, I don't, I,
Part of the know that. I'm real late into this.
What, I didn't hear your question.
That whole development out there.
Hmm.
Van Buskers.
You would say, Van Buskers do it, right?
Yes,
Did they do all the infrastructure and everything out there? Roads and all that, is that them?
Over here.
they're the developer,
Yeah, yes, yeah.
yes.
Right? And I don't know how this works, but you just made a good point, that why wasn't that something that was approached to them to get the park started and get that going for that land to do all that stuff?
It is, it is, listen, if the city of Crooks had to put in a pond park, what's being done down there, we'd be in it for $250,000.
Why is it in there anyway? Why was that part of we need a new park? What, we can't maintain what we.
It's an amenity to the city.
No, that's.
Oh, hell, okay, let me finish answering his question.
I was just asking, why would bathrooms and all that infrastructure be a part of that package? Is all.
Be included in Van Buskirk's infrastructure.
Instead of putting another burden on the city and the people of Crooks to take care of that. That's all I'm asking. Because you're saying that park is in that with them. Why wouldn't they be a part of that, helping us develop that?
They've covered an incredible cost of that park already. I mean, they're bearing probably $200,000 of cost on their side of the fence to get that done. I mean, so it's not like they're not contributing at all.
I didn't say they weren't.
No, that,
I think those are some questions that maybe if we had and we're kind of late into the game, and I know that we're all kind of firing back up, but maybe we just need some time to get caught up, and those numbers and those projects, I'd like to see that so that, you know, the decision's been made, but how was it formed?
Yeah, that's all I'm not going for you. I'm just asking for information. Sorry.
So I'll go step one. That land over there was bought by the Crooks Housing and Redevelopment Corp. I'm on that board too. We partnered with Van Buskirk. There's a TIF over there for them to get reimbursed for infrastructure. The pond is part of that infrastructure. So they're fronting all of the construction money for everything that's happening down there, digging that out, removing all the stuff, getting it filled, setting it up. When they're done with it, it will be turned over to us as it, and they might even be seeding it too, I'm not sure. But it will be turned over to us to do whatever we choose with it. We looked at it for the possible location of the Veterans Memorial for a while. Like I said, we've got a grant coming to put some playground equipment down there, but it was put in as an amenity to the city. It will be a fishing pond. Perhaps it can be used in the wintertime for skating. We haven't quite gotten that far yet. But, you know, we were supposed to have a pond where Sunset Park is. That was originally supposed to be a pond. I mean, that's the old city lagoon. The original plan when Cliff opened that for development was going to be a pond. And then the city got scared because of insurance reasons and decided it should be a park instead. And now we have what we have. So the pond idea, it was purely meant as an amenity to the city. In the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty low cost park.
And I'm not trying to argue, I'm just asking if bathrooms are such a high priority in this town for parking. I just would have assumed that would have been discussed with them, like, hey, how do we get that done with this pond and that park? That's all I'm asking. Was it not? I don't know.
Was not. Was not.
Could it have been something?
Well, you can always ask.
Absolutely.
So these guys are kicking in 200,000, right?
Give or take, yeah.
200 grand.
Yep.
So then these guys over here just cut a check for 22 grand?
That's what's in our ordinance.
I mean,
Van Buskirk is going way above and beyond, but it's to their benefit too, because it's gonna help them sell lots over here when half of them have a pond in their front window.
If they would have decided not to, or if the city and the planning and stuff would have decided not to go further south of that pond, all that would have been down there is where them pipes outletted. It would have just been a swampy slough detention area that would have filled up a couple feet and then it would have drained out across the tracks. But they deepened it to make it.
I'm not against.
No, I know.
What will happen to the land out here in the new project where we're getting $22,000? What will happen with that land?
They're gonna build houses on it.
What?
They're gonna build houses on it.
And each one is gonna sell for
Right.
160, 200,000 on that same land that the city took back $22,000.
It's the developers, that's not how it works. We don't get to keep their land.
Why didn't the city say no, we're keeping the land?
It's not our choice to keep their land. It's an either or. They have the choice. You either have to give 5% to parks or you have to write a check. It's the developer's discretion.
So the pond.
That's why most parks end up in places where there's not developable land.
The pond is up there, would have been.
It's not developable. That the pond, where the pond is, wasn't usable land. And that's where parks end up.
Would have had to do something with it anyway, or just left it?
It would have been a slough.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that Sunset Park is where it is. Sunset Park is where it is because that whole area is unsewerable.
I know,
That's why there's a park there. You couldn't put houses there.
but there are bridges that were built, and lights that were put in, and grass that was put in, and the city subsidizes or pays for the watering surfaces underneath there, and pays for all the water that goes. We can't get grass seed in the whole
Sue, I'm not gonna let you do this all night, okay? I understand you're upset about New Hope Park. We've heard you. That's enough. I'm not gonna let you go every 5 minutes and yell about something at New Hope Park.
You can't just let it go.
We're not letting it go. We just spent $17,000 down there last year
For a back.
for what was needed, for what was needed.
The backstop was long overdue. I watched several ball games up there where the
Yes,
fence
it was
was
long overdue, and
curled.
that's what I'm saying. It was long overdue. You put 17,000 into that park for a backstop. Because it should have been done years before.
And it wasn't, so we did it now.
And so you're gonna wait and maybe do some other thing.
Is
to it
that what
later
anybody up
on
here just said? No.
While the pond gets done and while we talk about a bathroom for Sunset and what. There's gotta be a list.
Sue, we are not gonna just go and fix New Hope Park tomorrow. That's not gonna happen.
Or last year, or the year before, or the year before. You're not gonna do it.
But I think you gotta keep in mind, I'm not even privy, because we haven't met for a couple of years because of COVID and
That
whatever.
might have been a problem too.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, I don't even know okay, so what Mike just said earlier was above and beyond the maintenance costs, the maintenance part of the budget, there's $25,000 that could be used for projects. Well, doing some maintenance work up at New Hope, that stuff sounds like that fits within some of that budget work.
Why does
So,
it
I
have-
mean, would you just give us a chance? This is our first meeting back.
I know, but why does it have to be brought up like maintenance for a park? I mean, isn't that something that's supposed to happen year after year after year?
I do agree with that.
And it never did. We're talking,
See, like,
bathroom doors don't close. They don't function. It's not usable. Last year, it was horrific.
I think we're very, for those of us that have, lived in this community a very long time, it's kind of been our MO. I mean, Palmyra that poor park, there was nothing until finally they just said, stop it, we have to redo it. We are our own worst enemy, but I think all of us have and want to get to where you're at, Sue, so that we can prioritize and use this little bit of money that we have the most efficient way. And, it may touch a little bit of every parks, but it may not touch all of them. But we'll have to weigh those odds out.
Yeah.
But like Todd said, we really haven't met as a group to try to even put those list of projects together.
One park has moved on. They kept going further.
Sue, I've explained this several times, and I'm gonna say it one more. That park has thrived because of the efforts of volunteers. And I can't help it that there aren't a group of volunteers that are passionate about doing something to New Hope Park. I can't help that.
But the city isn't even passionate about,
That's not true.
They put a pickleball court down there. They picked
and
that.
it's used twice.
No.
That's not true
Every night
either.
of the week, go by there, Sue. Every night of the week, there's people up there playing families. There's multiple families within a block of my house that I see walk down there. Mom, dad, kids. That thing is used every night of the week. You should walk down there before you.
That's the only park I go to.
Okay, well, I'm saying,
My park.
I know, but I'm saying they chose to put that pickleball court there.
Who chose that?
The city. We could have put that pickleball court at Sunset too, but they didn't. They put it down at New Hope.
But I want to know how pickleball came on the agenda.
There was a group of older people that came to a council meeting and said, look, this pickleball is really taking off, you guys. You should look at this as an option. And we did. I think I was part of the board then.
I talked to people about the pickleball, and I heard that the people that lived around there wanted something. It didn't matter what it was. And a pickleball was what it was gonna be, that was fine, because they're never gonna use it. But it was close to their home, and they wanted nothing else put in there,
I've lived here forever. There was horseshoe pits in there before and they never got used.
and they never wanted it used.
They never got used. It's a park. Anybody can go use it. Well, I'm just saying, if you want to talk about a waste of space, that's a waste of space.
It could have been a parking lot for ball games.
The pickleball court,
Yeah.
there would have been like 4 more parking stalls.
It's 4 more.
Who cares? There's families that go down and use it. Be happy it's there. You know, yeah, I'm not gonna, I don't wanna sit and argue with either, Sue, but I mean, I just wanna mention, you know, obviously, I got involved with that, your comment that day. I took that a little bit to heart, because when you compare the two parks, you can't compare them, because out of that, all the improvements down there, and I'm gonna say probably $160,000, we've raised it on our own, grants, fundraisers, everything. I bet the city down at that park, before the irrigation,
Stop right there.
Okay.
Before the irrigation.
before the
I
irrigation.
don't know how that even.
Okay, well, you want me to explain that?
that?
Stop. We are getting so
Okay.
sidetracked, I'm not gonna rehash what's done. We are moving forward with improving our parks. So is there anything needed to add on the list of things that we should be looking at for adding to our parks? Yes, sir.
We're looking at, an access sidewalk on the north side of the, creek down at Sunset. So we wouldn't be driving equipment on the grass to get from the north parking lot to the north side.
By the bridge there? Yeah, that little piece of sidewalk there?
Yeah, we'd like that extended on out to the parking lot.
I agree.
A lot of people are walking through that grass, and we're gonna ruin it with our equipment if we keep driving.
We did look at that last fall. Chad and I were over there.
I know we have to do some surveying on this next phase of this bike trail,
Yeah.
like this spring or something. I mean, is that something that could maybe
Maybe.
be tied in with that somehow?
That's a possibility.
Okay.
Anything else to add to the list?
I guess I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Just looking for an update if there's anything on the sewer access for the new ballpark area. Is there any updates on that?
Nothing.
The sewer access? No,
Nope. We got some ideas. Okay. So going forward, Tobias and I are going to look at what's on the books for ordinances regarding the Parks Board. You know, I've only been on this since COVID. So I don't know what we have on the books. We're going to look at that, and if the city council needs to amend or add ordinances to make this a little more formalized, we're going to do that. And also look at what we should have for numbers for the board. I mean, how many people are supposed to be on it? I don't even know what that is, or what a quorum equals, or anything. So we've got some administrative work to do, but I would like to look at, it just seems logical to me that, you know, in the summer months especially, or spring and summer months, that this board should probably be meeting monthly just to keep on task with things. So I would like to propose meeting again on May 2nd. And I know that we have had a couple other people, like I said, Tobias and I went through some old emails and stuff, and to find out who has been on the park board and so forth. So if there's people that are missing, I would love to have their name to see if they're still interested.
There was a few more, wasn't there, Todd? The last,
Well, Marv was on it,
Raid,
I think Ron,
Ron
Ron
Pearson.
Pearson, the gentleman down here that you said resigned.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, one question before
Mhm.
while I'm thinking about it, we're talking about forming boards and if the city council's got to get involved. So obviously you guys know a little bit about the Veterans Park we're working on. So what we're thinking as a group is like almost that, should we be thinking about maybe having like a sub board? It'd be, I mean, once it's built, you know, I don't know. I don't know what, like the paver stones and things that may be purchased down the road. Would there be a need to have like a sub board under the Parks Board where those two maybe have to, you know, visit maybe a couple times a year or something like that? I mean, we're just thinking like that, and
Do you think that'd be beneficial for all of the parks moving forward?
like a sub board for each park?
Well, I don't know. We've got people that are very passionate about one park or another park, and so that maybe we hear all of their concerns.
Well, I think when Mike's talking about meeting monthly, I mean, it'd be nice to have Chad or city representation, somebody that's at the parks, so that maintenance issues as they're coming up,
We can
he
address
can
those.
bring to a Parks Board and we
Right.
can address it right there. You know, you can look at the budget and say, okay, there's so much liquid money there that we can, if we gotta put 2 new doors in, or, you know, we gotta do something, then let's nip it in the butt before it becomes a non-maintained problem, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I mean, in that vein.
yeah,
What I kind of envision for the Parks Board, I envision you're the representative that kind of Sunset Park is your
Right.
deal and New Hope is your deal. And you know what I mean? That's kind of how I envision it, that
Okay.
maybe one or two people kind of assigned to each park
right,
to kind of be the lookout for it.
right.
Can you use your alderman for each section? Like your Parks Board has to give their information for whatever area needs maintenance for that time. Your alderman needs to check with your Park Board, whichever district they represent in town, and get your input. So it's not like all the Park Board here, it's your representative from your area.
It's my job to take the feedback from the Park Board to City
Right.
Council.
Any financial decision we would make, Mike would have to take to the council anyway to get approval on spending. I mean,
Right.
we couldn't say, yeah, go ahead, Chad, get them 2 new doors or whatever. I mean, you'd have to get prices, then Mike would take it to the council. So Mike's the liaison between us and the council. So I guess,
A representative from the area, you couldn't give that information to your rep, and then when the council meets, each
I think you're just kind of creating more of it's just making it dirtier, right? I mean, what Mike's saying is,
Let's not get into the weeds.
yeah,
We've got to form something first.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I think once Mike and Tobias go through those ordinances, that may
Yeah.
help us kind of figure out how we're supposed to, you know, go forward from here. A lot of questions. Yeah.
So again, I'll reach out to Marv and to Ron. If there's other folks that want to serve on it's appointment by the mayor and approved by the council, so we can add.
Anyone on the north side?
well, I mean, dude, is that something that we need to, maybe in that text messaging service or whatever that goes out, do you need to put something out that you're looking for a number of park board members and maybe have them, maybe there's a small little application or something that just says how they see themselves and what they can, you know, put in, and they can be reviewed and maybe pick out.
I just want to make sure that we get someone from,
I agree,
Well,
there should be somebody.
Anybody that wants to go on it, they got to talk to the mayor. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
the mayor has to appoint, and then it comes to a vote on the council.
Sure.
Could the city put an ad in the paper?
Sure.
I mean, why not? Baltic does, Hartford does, Dells does. It just says, we need volunteers, we need representatives, we need help with Parks and Recreation. Would you like to? And then there's time when they meet, and whoever shows up would be people that are interested.
So let's shoot for May 2nd, first Tuesday of the month of May, and
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Okay.
Tobias has been ever so kind to scribble some minutes from this, so we'll have some minutes and we'll try and get this back on track.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second
it.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yeah, Butch just texted me last night, and I had a prior commitment. So I said, well, all right, I should be able to make it, but I may be running a little late, so.